आणि आज सचिन तेंडुलकरच्या आत्मचरित्राचं पुस्तकाचं प्रकाशन होतंय. आपण थेट जाणार आहोत या सोहळ्याकरता. सुनील गावस्कर या ठिकाणी बोलतायत.
And because I was the captain of India then, I didn't want him to be nervous. I was sort of in the dressing room, the old CCI dressing room, and standing up on those wooden benches and through that partition having a look at Ravi. And from what I saw from there, you know, we sort of took him into the Nidlon team, Mumbai team, everything. And similarly with Sachin, but Sachin was not at the Cricket Club of India. Sachin was at the Wankhede Stadium. And again, Anil Joshi and Hemant Waingankar were the two who had told me about Sachin. And so I went, they told me that the practice is on, the Mumbai team is practicing. And he was in the 30, I think, at that stage, the 30 probable. So I went to see. I cricket, I think, at that stage. And again, the old dressing room where the players used to sit out. And I was standing there and I was watching him, and so the nets were on that side. And he was batting against whom Raju Kulkarni, whom we all fondly call Veda Thompson, because, you know, he was like Mad Thompson. I don't know whether Raju is here, but
there he is.
There he is. Yeah. And he was batting against Raju, and Raju, you know, was slippery. He was, you know, and of course in the nets we all know that not many bowlers think about the no ball. They can bowl from almost 18 yards or so. And Raju was doing that. And the manner in which Sachin was batting him, and basically the way he was punching him off the back foot, straight around the mid-wicket area. The time that he had, because he was, as I said, he was slippery, and to be able to get the time to play that was quite astonishing, to be honest. And I think that was for me the first sight, and, you know, it really impressed me.
He says one of his biggest regrets is that he couldn't play in the same side as you.
Yeah, I think we would have been pretty good, certainly running between.
You might have done all right together.
I think as far as the running between the wickets, I think we would have been good, because, you know, I think for me the most important thing in batting with anybody was that my partner should be able to come for that quick single, dap the ball around here, keep the bowlers, you know, all the time bowl a different ball to a different batsman. That for me was important. So, you know, for me.
But they might have had to bowl the same length to the two of you.
Well, no, not necessarily, because, you know, I think he was more a front foot player. So I think, you know, he would have smashed them. So I would have defended them and he would have smashed them.
Dilip Vengsarkar features on page 32. Makes an on page 32. Just a 15-year-old kid to play in the nets against Kapil Dev. And then
but my coach Basu Paranjpet brought him. Actually, I was the captain of India at that time, and I was playing in Times of India Shield at Pasir Gymkhana. And I had heard a lot about him. Of course, he has scored heavily in Harry Shield and Gail Shield. And Vasu, you know, came for the match, and he said, you know, we should go and see Sachin Tendulkar play. I said, not now, because then he said, no, we have to go. And I couldn't say no to Vasu.
Nobody can say no.
Nobody can say no to Vasu. And Sachin had already scored 300 runs. And he was bowling his 50th over. And so I saw him bowl, actually, to be honest with you. And then I was playing my 100th test match for India. And we were practicing at CCI. You know, and there came Sachin, and all padded up. You know, and Vasu said, "Dilip, just have a look at him." And I had to tell Kapil Dev and Chetan Sharma, Arshad Ayub, Maninder to come and have bowl at him. It was a bit odd for me, to be honest.
You asked Kapil Dev to bowl to a 15-year-old.
Yeah, but hats off. He bowled, and all of them bowled to him, and he was very impressive. In the same evening, we had a selection committee meeting of Mumbai. And I told selectors, I was Sachin, you know, and we should include him. They said, no, he's too young. If he gets hit, आपली press pan काढे. But I said, you know, you must pick him in 15. And I think it's time. I think we should just pick him. So they said, okay, Dilip, since you are saying this, they will pick in 15. And then for the first 3 days, he didn't come for practice. And I was a bit surprised, why he didn't come for practice. So I asked Vasu, Vasu, kahan aala practice la? And fourth day he came for practice. So I was a bit livid. I said, Coach Vasu, just have a word with him, He said, and he has Sachin, kahan aala practice la 3 divas? Sir, drawing chi pariksha hoti. And Vasu said, "Arey, by sang driving ची परीक्षा घे, drawing ची नाही." He played Gujarat, and he scored a brilliant 100 in the first match itself. The rest is history, as they say. He played a fantastic cricket.
39, so you got to wait for, because the big did something that no one else has done. Got his father to watch him play in the Irani trophy. You did, didn't you? I did. You went up to him and said, he is going to score 100 and watch him play.
No, his father said that every... I said, that's not true, because otherwise all the schools would have made you a principal of their schools.
You have a sense of timing as well. You pause, after come, and now we can... So, but he didn't watch his son play, so you ensured that he came and watched him play.
He did watch him play, score that 100 the rest of India game.
Yes.
And that was a splendid match. I think the Sardar who came to bat with a broken finger
Gursharan.
to stand, and it was very vital.
You also sent him to the...
Sunny forgets that I was the one who took him to the match when he played his first match against Gujarat, like Dilip mentioned just now. And I said, this is India champion replacing the old champions. Come, both of you together. And he did, but he came later on, he saw him get the 100.
MRF Academy. On page 18, you send him to the MRF Academy.
To bat. but he came and he started bowling.
There is this great photograph there of Sachin Tendulkar and both going there to imagine what it would have been.
But Ganguly's dream lasted a bit longer.
Then Ravi, you were with him on the tour of Pakistan. Got out in his first innings, and he came back and he said he wasn't sure he belonged here. And there were a couple of senior Mumbai players in there who said to him that you need to respect the bowler at this stage as well. And you were in that little group, weren't you?
I think I was lying on a massage table, pissed off.
By the way, gentlemen, that's Ravi. Just turn the volume down a little.
I was pretty annoyed. But he gave me time. He gave me an hour and a half till I had calmed down. And he walked up and he came and said in Marathi, "Chikar ghai ke, calm down." And he walked up and he came and said in Marathi, "Chikar ghai kela na main." I was in a big hurry. So I just looked at him and said, 16 years of age. And to be fair, during that half an hour, 25 minutes he spent at the crease, you would say he looked like a fish out of water, right? A month later, once that tour of Pakistan was over, you could safely say that there was a big, great white shark, inside that water, and you knew the seas belonged to him. And it did belong to him for 25 years. So, what I did tell him at that time was what you exactly said. I said, respect the conditions, respect the opponent. But don't change your game for nobody. Just play your natural game. Just give yourself that little bit of time. And, the rest is history. I mean, no one had to tell him anything after that because the rise was so rapid.
Did you expect the rise to be so rapid? Because you've seen this little child running around.
Yeah, of course I did, Harsha. Why do you doubt that?
No, I don't doubt. My job is only to ask questions, but I'm unsure of your wit.
We had been to Australia with the under-19 team. I was the coach cum manager. And one night I was dining at the hotel where I was staying, who was a Australian rugger player, and that was his hotel. So there was a lot of common thing to talk about cricket and all. So I told one of the reporters joined us later on, I told that reporter, we have the best under-19, best cricketer in the world today. Not cricketer, sorry, batsman in the world today. He said, what? I said, yes, you will see him in 92. He promptly wrote me that later in 92, after Perth 100.
And then he scored many more, and then he came to 34, and he emptied your wallet a little bit on 34 bottles of champagne.
Nothing at all. I think, actually, I was just sitting with Boria and telling him how the producer, Ray Hume, you know him, and when I think he was in the 90s, and it wasn't even my commentary slot at that stage, and Ray pushed me, and I think when he was in about 94, 95, he pushed me into the seat to talk about it. And I remember when he got the century, I was in the box, so I stood up and I applauded. And having done that and having described that particular effort, I put the mic down and I just looked back, and there was this Australian, Ray Hume. He was in tears. He was in tears. So I said to him, Ray, what's happened? And he says, no, I mean, it was such a, yours was such a spontaneous reaction, despite the fact that, he's equal your record. And I said, well, I mean, records are meant to be broken. So, so he was, he sort of said that to me that, and I said, did I say anything wrong? And he said, no, you were absolutely fine. And yes, I think
34 bottles.
34, nothing. The only problem is that, I was supposed to send him the, when he went past the 35th. That I haven't, because now it's not 35. I've got to send him, 17 more. But, when he has the time...
And if he strikes a hard bargain, he might include the one-days and ask you to send 100.
No, it was a test. Our agreement was for the test matches, not for the one-days.
Dilip Venkateswarlu comes back into the story at the end because you knew that he was a foodie, and so when he went to Calcutta, you got a friend of yours, to send him prawns.
Yeah, actually I had made a lot of friends all over India and all over the world, because those days we never used to get great allowances,
So you had to have someone who was going to give you good food.
And then actually Sachin, and another person, Sanjay Manjrekar, along with me, to all my friends' places. And I know that he loved prawns. And there was a guy called Samar Paul, I think from Calcutta. I used to go every day. He still goes actually. Now, I think he gets tiffin for him, in a hotel in Calcutta. But having said that, I think he loved food. I mean, he loves food and, and meat and prawns, especially the red meat.
So this
crab claws. I think he loves his. I remember once at the Taj Samudra in Colombo, the general manager had organized some crab claws, and he and we were sitting down there, and eventually it came to the last one. And you know me, I'm not a foodie. I eat maybe like.
No, you're not. I've never seen you at breakfast.
Like somebody stuck in a famine. I maybe 7-8 days in a year. Otherwise, I'm pretty careful with my food. And there was that last one left, and I was like, I had really been hammering those crab claws. And sort of he looked at me, and I said to myself, well, and then I said, no, he's still a growing lad, so let him eat it. So I let him have it.
So this is how the Mumbai people look after each other. They don't just teach them how to bat, but they help them get good food too.
Food-wise, Dilip had more mamus in every city of the world. We used to call them mamus. So even as a youngster, I had never had any problem eating food because the Gujaratis were always there with Dilip.
Now, actually, I forgot to tell you about Sachin in Indore. That was his first camp, I think. It was under 14 camp, then it became 15, 16. The board's camp go on varying as per the age, actually. And I had called Mustaq Ali to inaugurate the net. because he was the senior-most man there, and I don't think there was a better person than anybody else in Indore, at least. So I called him and took him to the net. He came in perfect flannels, a hanky around the neck and a cap, and asked me for a bat. I gave him the bat. 5-6 bowlers were bowling. They kept on bowling for some time. And after about 50 balls, he said, ask one of them to bowl bouncer. I'll show them how to hook. I said, that's the end of practice. Because I think I couldn't take a risk. He was a heavy man. To pick up another 3 boys would have been there. And then Sachin was also there. So I introduced Sachin specifically to him. And I said, sir, you were asking me who is the most promising boy. I said, this is the boy. He'll play for India earlier than you think. And it came true.
Then finally, Ravi, you come back on page 64, watching that second 100 playing together at the Sydney Cricket Ground. You got a few runs yourself, and was that an eye opener to see a little child just about old enough to sign his contracts by then?
Sure enough, because that's the first time, I had the best view in the house. 22 yards away from him, and I have to say that you were seeing greatness. Not for, people get runs, but for someone just 18, about to become the youngest ever overseas player to get 100 in Australia. A very good attack that had McDermott, Hughes, Reid and Vaughan playing his first test. The quality of the stroke play, the surety when it came to footwork, and above all that was a competitive edge which baffled me, because I was batting with him, he was batting on 5 or 6, and he was getting a lot of crap from the War brothers, typical Aussie, way of going about things and trying to put pressure on the young man. And I had my fill, and it was going on with the Australians. And just after one banter took place with one of the players, he walked up at the end of the over, and in typical Sachin fashion, with the box going up and down, he said, "Maza pan shambaro de, mi pan chahla dena." And this guy was batting on 5. He was 18 years of age, and all I told him was, "You do not have to open your mouth or say anything. Your bat will do the talking." And the rest was history. What the Sydney Cricket Ground saw for the first time was a stroke play of the highest order from someone who was still a teenager. And by going on to make 148, he was in the history books all round.
Thank you very much, Ravi. The great Sunil Gavaskar, Dilip Vengsarkar, Ravi Shastri, Vasu Paranspe. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
झी 24 तास रहा एक पाऊल पुढे.